with the playoffs around the corner, we got 5 burning questions, baby. Yes. We love to see it. You know, I just love a good toque, you know? I really do. I really do. What do you guys call them?
You might want to... You might want to define,
beanie, a beanie, I guess. You Americans call it a beanie. It's a toque, but that's okay.
I've never called it a beanie in my life.
So what do you call it? A hat?
Call it a hat.
Keeping it simple. All right. Well, here's how it's going to work. We actually have friends of the show sending in these burning questions. So our first question comes from William in Boston.
Okay.
Hey, Jackie, Eej, and Rupper. How you guys doing? Great show today. You guys look awesome. Loving it. Listen, I've got a burning question for you when it comes to the Caps Bruins series. So I think it's pretty clear that the Bergeron and Krejci line, the top 6 for the Bruins, well, those lines are set. So the real question is this. What does Bruce Cassidy do with his bottom 6, his 3rd and 4th line, and how much can those lines help the Bruins in their upcoming series against the Caps? I can't wait to hear your answer.
Oh, boy.
I love Billy Jaffe. He looks like he's heading out to the skate park to, like, skateboard with Tony Hawk, but that's another discussion.
I got a question for Billy Jaffe. Where did he steal ththose Emmys? I mean, that's a question I have for him, but that's for another day, I guess.
All right. Well, what do you make of his cue?
Well, I mean, I liked, recently when the Bruins had Corrali with Coyle and Ritchie together as a 3rd line, because those guys are big, strong guys together. But you can see Coyle out of the mix. I don't see him on there, so he's going to be on there.
Yeah.
So when you say typical forward lines, that's if Charlie Coyle was not playing and not healthy. When he's healthy, he probably could slide in there right where Wagner is. You bump Wagner down. I don't know where Kase is going to fit into it. He hasn't been part of it for most of the year. Played a little bit, but has had a lot of injury issues. So for me, Rupper, I like to see Corrali and Ritchie and Coyle together because those are 3 talented guys but have great size, and they can really pin you in with a strong forecheck and get that cycle game going down low.
Yeah, I think that's the big if or what is it going to look like in those bottom 6, because they have the pieces there. I mean, they have the pieces down in that bottom 6 that can add something to this group, and the success that the Boston Bruins have had is a big reason. Is Corrali, and it's going to be Wagner and those types of things. So how does it? You've got Lazar in the mix here, and I like that's a part of that Taylor Hall trade that I really like. So I mean, the pieces are there. How are they going to work out? But I will say, as much as we love what Taylor Hall has done, he's been spectacular playing with David Krejci on line 2. The depth and how deep, I should say, this Boston Bruins team will go in the playoffs is going to have a lot to do with that bottom 6. So I'm looking for Lazar, Corrali, Wagner, energy line that's going to be very good defensively. That's where this team is going to be able to tip the scale a little bit.
And one quick thing, the line that we showed for the Bruins, they were from the game last night. Coyle did not play, so he's going to be in the mix there. And the beauty of it is they're all slotted in perfect situations to be successful. Lazar as your 4th center, he can help you there. When you got to play him on the 2nd line, not as good.
All right, well, the Bees will face the Caps in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So let's head to Washington for question number 2.
Hey, guys, it's John Walton here in Washington, and I've got one more burning question for you regarding the Washington Capitals, and it involves goaltending. My question for you is this. In a best-of-7 series with the Boston Bruins, who would you rather have in nets? Vitek Vanacek, who led the NHL in wins among rookies during the season, or the guy who's been there and done that and has the playoff experience, and that would be Craig Anderson. So what say you?
I like the way you ended that. What say you? Well, what say you each?
Well, I mean, I think if you don't have Samsonov in the mix, I think you've got to go with Vanacek just because he's been the guy for most of the season. Because if you start Craig Anderson, who hasn't played that much this year, and it goes sour, now you're going to an inexperienced Vanacek, at least inexperienced from a playoff standpoint for sure. Right. If you start Vanacek and it kind of goes wobbly on you, you can roll Craig Anderson out there, who's been in a million big games, and it would kind of fall right into place. So for me, that's the way I would go, Rupper, but I would want Samsonov to be available, and it sounds like he's not.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to go Vitek Vanacek as well. I just think that what he's done in this season being a shortened year, there is more pressure than there normally would be, I should say, in regular season games. So I think that this guy, they know how to play in front of him. He's got familiar. I mean, is his playoff experience there? No, he doesn't have any. But this is, he has a very veteran group in front of him where I think he'll be fine. And this is the guy you got to play. Why? Because he's played this year and he's looked pretty good in the process.
I think you make a good point. If things don't go well for Vanacek in the first couple games, it's easier to navigate from that than the reverse situation to navigate from Anderson to the rookie. All right, third question comes from Steven in Pittsburgh.
Oh, no. No.
Hello to my friends at NHL Now. Steve Mears here, just patiently waiting for the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Doing some decorating here in the house. My question is this. Throughout Penguins history and their 5 Stanley Cup runs, yes, we know about the superstars, but they've always had players who have been unsung heroes that have stepped up in huge moments in the playoffs, whether it was Frank Pietrangelo or Max Talbot, Connor Sherry scoring a big goal in a Stanley Cup final. So my question is, who could be that guy this postseason for the Penguins who could be under the radar and have a huge playoff year for the Pens? I'll hang up and listen.
All right. Please do. Please do. Just hang up.
Your pictures are back on the wall, though.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, actually. Rupper, I'm going to defer to you to start because you see the Penguins a lot. You do some of their games, so give me your thought.
I think Freddie Gaudreau is one that jumps out to me, and he has some experience in the playoffs when he went on that Stanley Cup run to the finals with the Nashville Predators, and we know that when he scored that big overtime goal, right? And I think he scored a couple game winners against the Pittsburgh Penguins in the finals. He has that experience. The way that you see him being used here, and he maybe would have, I don't want to say maybe, he would not have gotten that look this year if it wasn't for all the man games lost by the Pittsburgh Penguins. But he's earned that trust by Mike Sullivan. He gets put in great situations. He's been playing with Jeff Carter. Jeff Carter's been spectacular. I don't think that you're going to break that group up. And I think Freddie Gaudreau will be an unsung hero for the Pittsburgh Penguins in these playoffs.
I think that's a good one because I remember Freddie Gaudreau playing with the Nashville Predators a couple of years ago in the playoffs and doing quite well, I guess, against the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know, I'll go with a defenseman, Rupper, and growing up as a kid, I can remember Kenny Morrow for the Islanders, who came out of the 1980 Olympic team, and he joined the Islanders, and he was just steady. And then every once in a while, overtime, big moment, he would score a goal. I can remember against the New York Rangers in a critical Game 5 overtime, Kenny Morrow scored a big goal to propel the Islanders to the next round. I'm going to go with John Marino, the Harvard kid. And full disclosure, I know the family a little bit, and I like him. But John is a smart player. The coaching staff trusts him. He ends up playing over 20 minutes a night, and he's someone that just does all the little things in a game. And at those moments when you need a big play, he's someone that can make it. So for me, John Marino.
I would also add, don't sleep on Jeff Carter.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not unsung.
Yeah, well, he's unsung lately.
Oh, he does have 2 cups, and he's been scoring.
Yeah, those were like a decade ago, though. All right, the Pens will be facing the Islanders.
Are you chiming?
I'm chiming. I'll chime if I want to chime.
All right.
The Islanders and Pens will be facing each other in the first round. So let's go to Brendan in Long Island for the fourth cue.
Another troublemaker.
Hey, Jackie, EJ, and Rupper. Here is my burning question for the New York Islanders heading into the playoffs. Will they get the production they need from Kyle Palmieri? The trade looked great on paper. He's shown some flashes. He's had some good games, but just 2 goals so far for Kyle Palmieri as an Islander. Barry Trotz said he's playing well. He's fitting in. He just isn't producing at the level that they want him to. That's why they got him, to produce in the playoffs. So my burning question is, will Kyle Palmieri produce enough offense for the Islanders in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
I was just trying to read the schedule board for Brendan in May to see what was going on with on the updates there. But Kyle Palmieri, I think Kyle Palmieri has been a terrific player in New Jersey for several years. It hasn't been a lights out so far with the New York Islanders. And even with the Devils this year, there was some ups and downs. It was a slow start. He seemed to play very well against the Boston Bruins as a member of the Devils. Well, you know what, Rupper, and you know this, the playoffs are such a unique animal. The games are close and they're tight, and you've got to be able to go into those dirty areas. Kyle Palmieri gets into those spots on the ice. So I think that he can have an impact for the Islanders moving forward. We'll see if they can find that right fit for him. But he doesn't get cheated. He plays hard every night. So those kind of guys usually come up with big plays along the way in the postseason.
I'll start with this. Taylor Hall has been awesome for the Boston Bruins. I think the world of Taylor Hall. But when Taylor Hall is not scoring goals, he's not doing much for your team. He is scoring goals right now. That's why he's been spectacular for the Boston Bruins. But now I look to Kyle Palmieri. This is a guy that's built for the playoffs. And when he scores, he can score with the best of them. If he's not scoring, he's still helping your team in accomplishing the nuances of the game, and he can really contribute on a nightly basis. So I'm looking for Kyle Palmieri. Yes, he'll find his offense. But if he doesn't find it right away, he's still helping your team win. He does all the little things in the game to help your team win. So I think that the playoffs are designed for a player just like Kyle Palmieri. So I'm going to say yes to Brendan Burke. I think he does get going and finds his offense, and he's a huge difference maker for this Islanders team.
All right, let's get right to our fifth question. This one comes from Harold in Secaucus.
Harold?
Yeah.
Hey, even a guy like me knows that it's hockey playoff season. Everybody tunes in. Now, I don't watch all year long, but I know when it's playoff time, it's time to tune in. So I have a question for you. Which team in the East has the most pressure to advance to the semifinals? You better give me a good answer. Let's go.
Are we talking hockey with Harold Reynolds?
I think so.
Oh, my goodness
I
gracious.
think so.
Whatever producer convinced Harold Reynolds to film a video for us on his off time.
Yes.
I mean, kudos to you.
Yes.
But,
apparently fielding ground balls somewhere.
to answer his question, Eve, what team are you looking at? He said in the
most
East.
pressure in the East. Well, let's see. You got Boston, you got Washington, you got Pittsburgh, and you got the Islanders. I think it might be the Washington Capitals, just because they've got a lot of things, a little bit of, they've got some issues right now. They got Ovechkin is a little dinged up. How is he going to be? Got some questions in goal that we've already talked about. There's some issues surrounding Kuznetsov. We don't know exactly where he stands. There's always the ever-present danger of Tom Wilson doing something either positive or maybe negative. So
Maybe both.
Maybe both. So I think the Washington Capitals, I would say, of that group would be the one that has the most pressure to advance. They changed coaches in the offseason, so they obviously feel they're further along than they were last year. We'll see how it plays out. Rupper, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I'm going to go with the New York Islanders, though, because they were the ones that made the big splash at the trade deadline. And you don't know what you're going to have moving forward. And they were very close in what they've done in recent years and taking that next step. And this is the opportunity where management went out and they got the guys to kind of get you over the hump. So I think that's the big thing here is this Islanders team. Are you ready to take that next step? There is some pressure involved here, but yeah, that's the one I think that's going to feel the most pressure.
I like that pick, Rupper, because, too, I think that the Islanders fan base, they have a bit of a complex, right? Like, this team goes to the Final Four last year. They make it to the conference final. And they still didn't get quite as much credit as you would think they would, having gone on such a deep run last year. So you know that if this team doesn't get back to this year's conference final or whatever we're calling it this year, there's going to be a lot of disappointed Islanders fans out there because they've been, letting everyone know all season long, this team's legit. Got to believe in the Islanders. We'll see.
All right. Well, I think the window is open for the Islanders if they're young.
It is, for sure.
For the most part, I think Washington and Pittsburgh, both with older players, time is now.